This Valentine's Day, there's no better time to bring back my series where I critique women's entire existence. And we're going to start today with Brett Cooper's skinwalker herself, Reagan Conrad. Now, this woman who's about to be 28 years old is someone who has been notorious and truly infamous for her Judas level betrayal of the darling of the Daily Wire. So let's see what her problem is and let's ascertain whether or not she's worth dating in the first place. Now, I'm making this video in part because, just like you guys, I'm probably basically in the same position where we're all confused as to who the hell Reagan Conrad even is. And really, just like how you would expect Brett Cooper has a Wikipedia, she actually doesn't have one. And so I had to do a lot of research for this, so buckle down and let's get into it. Now, Reagan is interesting because she has way less followers than you'd expect somebody who is basically someone who inherited an over 4.5 million subscriber channel to have. She has only 12,000 followers, and she, for whatever reason, has over 900 posts. Now, I'm ashamed to admit that I spent the better part of an hour combing through the entire thing just to get to the bottom of who the hell this person is, okay? Now, I also have a thesis statement where I'm going to tell you and convince you that perhaps part of the reason why people might find her attractive, and I'm kind of a sick guy, maybe I'm into this, but she does give Amy Dune, I believe is her name, from the Gone Girl movie, okay? It's the same sort of vibe. It's, a complete skinwalker, pretends to do something, pretends to love you, stabs you in the back, tries to take over in some sort of advantage, and it kind of blows up in her face when you look at the very ending. And so the point I'm making is going to really look very obvious by the end of the video. As you can see here, she was the maid of honor, so to speak, during Brett Cooper's wedding recently, like as in months ago. And so, I mean, the level of betrayal here is beautiful, beautiful. Now, this is also noteworthy, right? So, of course, Reagan has only 12,000 followers on her IG and has a crap ton of posts. Brett Cooper has less than half of the post that Reagan does, and then also has 1.2 million followers. So I think she literally has about 1,000 times more of a reach on IG. And I mean, that's awesome to see because it kind of just shows how astroturfed the personality of Reagan really is in her career thus far. So to add to the creepiness of this whole scenario, yours truly has more subscribers than Reagan Conrad's personal channel, okay? And it's not like it's a shell channel or something. She has 32 uploads, so she's actually put in effort, and she hasn't uploaded in a while, but she did give it her damnedest, okay? And keep in mind, she's 28. All right, so by the time you see this, she'll likely be, 7 years older than I am and about 5 years older than Brett Cooper herself. And so she's been out there for a while. In fact, she was working for the Daily Wire for over 3 years full time prior to taking over for Brett Cooper, I'm pretty sure. She was the producer, and it's creepy when you look into the photos she has in her own story of her looking at through the camera of Brett Cooper, again, performing. Again, very creepy. And I mean, you look at her post, it's pretty boring stuff. Now, when I try to paint this picture, it's for a damn good reason, okay? There's a real purpose behind this. So, when you look at the facts that I just presented right here, you'll see that the Daily Wire hired this chick because she had the most experience and could skinwalk the best and do the best Brett impersonation out of everybody at the Daily Wire, and that's believable. But the bench is not looking so hot because when you look at the replacement for Brett, the channel itself has lost over 110,000 subscribers since she's taken over in the past several weeks. Okay, you have memes such as this one, I think, made by Benny Johnson saying, I'm just here for the comments, which is ironic. I mean, somebody posited at one point that it's like the Daily Wire comment section without Brett Cooper is basically what it is now. And it's depressing because if you look at the stats, look beneath me, this red chart right here, total subscribers at a weekly basis, it goes and it's steadily growing, 60,000 a month when you're watching Brett. But then when Reagan takes over, she just dips down crazily. Now, if you look at the dislike to like ratio, it's also really gruesome. You take one example here from not too long ago, you have 3,000 likes to over 16,000 dislikes. Now, this is somewhat creepy to me. You just Google Reagan's name, and then one of the top 5 things that pops up is the LinkedIn. And so when you click on the LinkedIn, it says Reagan Rohrback and then Conrad in parentheses, which is odd because, again, what the hell does that mean? Turns out she's married. Now, you might say, why is that an important detail? Like, obviously, who cares? Now, the reason why I point this out is because why is she using her own maiden name, I presume? Than using your husband's name. I mean, first of all, you're conservative. Why are you not using your own name? And you could say, well, Brett Cooper does that. Yeah, but Brett Cooper is actually really famous. Reagan Conrad could have just said, oh, I'm Reagan Rohrbach, and nobody would have noticed, okay? She's been married for longer than she's been on the Daily Wire insofar as being the showrunner. And it's an oxymoronic statement. I mean, show running for her is just copying Brett and getting much less views as a result. But anyway, again, very big red flag that you don't even have that much clout. Again, less subscribers than Lalo, and you're gonna not use your husband's name. If I were him, I'd be pissed. But then again, I'd be married to her, so that, I mean, bigger fish to fry. Sometimes you got to feel sympathy for the devil, and I feel like I'd feel bad if I were Reagan at night reading comments such as these. I mean, she's just getting hated on wherever she goes. When you look at it, this person says the comment section is Brett Cooper. Was it really worth losing your best friend? And then obviously there's this notorious comment on some TikTok, I think, where Brett Cooper's absent mother apparently liked it, and it says, no matter how many acting classes you take or watch Brett's old videos, you'll never be Brett. It's sad that you took the money and snubbed your best friend. I hope the amount of money the Daily Wire offered you was worth your friendship with Brett. You lost a good one. So this is kind of hot. It's kind of hot because on one hand, you have a girl that is forgoing a best friendship for money and clout, and it's not even working out. And so it's just so keno. We love to see it. Now, I really had to dig down in our Instagram to find this, but over almost 13 years ago, Brett, I assume, was, or rather, Reagan was, I don't know, maybe 15 or something in this one. But this one says, it's time to have another Reagan for president. So she ran for class president. Now, why does a person bring that up? The reason why is because it kind of gets into the pathology of a ladder climber, of somebody who's an opportunist. And mind you, virtually anybody in politics, or even anything that's like high risk or high stakes in general business, you have to be an opportunist. You do have to be kind of cutthroat. But I mean, it's still not very feminine. It's still not, it's pretty disconcerting, and it paints the pathology that I'm trying to have as the narrative here, the centerpiece being that, yes, Reagan is an opportunist, she's a backstabber, and I'm making the point that it could be kind of hot. Could be kind of hot. Now, that's clear evidence that she's a ladder climber. I mean, really, what type of like 15-year-old is like, oh my God, I'm dying to be the class president? I mean, this is like model UN, but a little more on the nose, isn't it? All right, so again, deep digging. This is a post from over 8 years ago in 2016. She's taking a picture here with her future husband, which she hasn't even taken the name of, or rather, insofar as her media is concerned, she doesn't put it there front and center, which is concerning, like I said. Secondly, the husband, she's with him, like dating for several years, but again, doesn't get married until quite recently. When you look at the whole scheme of them knowing each other for what, like 10 years, and then what, like on year 7 to get married? Why? Why? No kids, by the way, 28 years old. Interesting. Career oriented. Is that very sexy for guys, prospective guys? Again, this is all a theoretical exercise. She's off the market and she should be off of YouTube. But, because she sucks. But let's keep going. This is also suspect, okay? Keep in mind that I'm pretty sure Reagan is not a Mormon, where usually, obviously, people do leave the country if you're Mormon. You might go to Argentina or whatever for a few years, especially if you're a man in the Mormon faith. But I think she's a Protestant Christian, as far as I know. And for whatever reason, she decides, like in college, to go and spend 3 months in South Africa, of all places, which is really weird, to serve the Lord. Okay, now that's odd because you have a boyfriend, long-term boyfriend. Why would you leave your boyfriend for 3 months? If I had a girlfriend that wanted to leave for 3 months, I'd be like, okay, I'm going for another one. Okay, I might cheat on you while you're out there. Okay, it's kind of like the whole army wife thing, because frankly, 3 months is too long, and South Africa is too damn far from anything civilized. Honestly, here we get into more of the hoish aspects. Okay, allegedly, she's taking pictures and she's captioning it saying, channeling my inner Ariel, which, first of all, you're an adult. This is awkward, okay? Very cringe. Secondly, you're wearing a bikini. Your boyfriend is hapless with his right hand, thinking, oh, why did she leave me? I mean, this is like what? And you're like, what? Evangelizing to black people in South Africa? And you might say, well, that's a good thing. But it's like, okay, but aren't you in a committed relationship? You know, very, very weird. Also, comment down below, would you let your girlfriend, long-term girlfriend, post these sort of pictures on the internet? I'm kind of torn on it. Again, proof that they didn't even get married until the summer of 2022, so not even 3 years ago, and they've known each other for several years before that. That's a little weird. I mean, there's an upward trend of millennial white people not consummating their marriage, or love rather, until way late in life. And by that I mean that they don't get married until they're pushing 30, and they don't have kids until they're actually 30 something. And that tends to lead into autism, obviously, fertility issues, and generally it's kind of degenerate in a way that is kind of boring. It's not even cool. It's not like, oh, I'm doing this and this, and it's like, no, you're just the producer for bread, and then you stab her in the back. That's basically how it played out. Again, this is completely stalker-coded, right, guys? I mean, this is completely weird. I mean, imagine, I don't know, maybe I'm just kind of crazy, but this is kind of off-putting, right? taking a picture of Brett through like the viewfinder or whatever else. Again, she was the producer and worked daily with Brett Cooper for about 3 years straight. And so for this to be the case is a little disconcerting because again, this person works with you. You're supposed to never outshine your master is what I'm trying to get at. Okay, 48 laws of power, one of the big ones. Now the reason why I point that out as a factoid is because again she tried to outshine the master by taking over her position and it failed. And so to contrast that with this story post that she put on her Instagram, was it a year ago or 2 years ago, is just really painting the picture, and I'm really good at it. So after a complete, deep, thorough analysis of Reagan Conrad's entire existence as known to the public, I will say that she's certified a hoe over wifey. The reason why I say this is because, and it's not really because she's so dirty or she's, the Haktua girl. She has no ounce of charisma, unlike the Haktua chick. Actually, I'll give her that much. This girl, Reagan, is just a pariah, okay? She is not to be trusted. She's untalented, and maybe Toucan Sam crossed with an owl is your taste of women, but it's not mine. Okay, so she is kind of mid. Honestly, Brett is way better looking, and they're both married. So anyway, that's all a theoretical for me. But she is definitely not marriage material. The guy that ended up marrying her is felt it. He's cooked. I don't know. I wouldn't be in that position if I were him. But guys, let me know what you think. Comment down below what your thoughts are on Reagan. Is she a 3 or 4, or is she a wifey? Would you say that Reagan made the right choice by having a non-profitable show on the Daily Wire? I mean, come on, 20,000 views in a day for a 4 point. No, oh wow, she's lost a ton of subscribers. Okay, the under 4 million subscriber channel. I mean, still 20,000, 30,000 views, 40,000 views. These are not profitable numbers. Okay, her own YouTube channel is smaller than mine. Okay, bottom line is that I'm vindicated. Let me know. Subscribe. Like the video if you liked it, and I'll see y'all on the next one. Adios.